drug-free athletics, which is natural bodybuilding competitions. That's how I know of Jeff Nippard. So as you can see in the title, I say, Jeff Nippard, you need to stop. Okay, we're going to get into why I say that in a minute, but we're just going to wait till people get on here. Again, I'm Shaun Campbell, Shaun Campbell 2.0. Subscribe to the channel. This is a YouTube live, guys, so we're going off the cuff here, but once we get started, we're going to start rolling. Feel free to add in your 2 cents as we're going here, because everyone knows who Jeff Nippard is. Jeff Nippard started YouTube, I don't even know when, probably 2014, something like that, before everyone else. But he's always a science-based approach to bodybuilding and gaining muscle and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, he's up to like 7 million subscribers, which is insane, guys. But this needs to stop, Jeff Nippard. We're going to get into what I'm talking about, but it needs to stop. Okay, so I'm just going to wait until some people get on here. But Jeff, I'm telling you guys, Jeff Nippard, I hate having to feel like I feel like an idiot every time you put a video together. I feel like I have to get the encyclopedias out and stuff just to follow you along. All these charts, graphs, all this crazy shit. Okay. So we're going to get into this video in a second, guys. So I'm just going to wait for people to get on here. But Jeff Nippard, it needs to stop, guys. Just bear with me. I'm just waiting a little bit for you guys before I get rolling. Because once I get rolling, I'm not going to stop. I've got my points I want to talk about, and we're just going to keep firing them off. But in the meantime, subscribe to the channel. I'm Shaun Campbell, Shaun Campbell 2.0. You can find me on, obviously, YouTube. You're finding me on here right now. But I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, under Shaun Campbell 2.0. Same profile picture that you see for YouTube. Same handle that you see for YouTube. So I'm easy to find, guys. And my goal is, guys, to make IDFA great again. Because I've been running the International Drug-Free Athletics since 2005, guys. So 20 years. Okay, back in the day, at its prime, it was the biggest natural bodybuilding organization across Canada. So I want to build it back to that, and I know we can do it. I'm even wearing a vintage, well, it's not real vintage. It's probably about 5-10 years ago vintage shirt. But now we got the more newer logo, which is right there. Might not be able to see the full thing, but it's right there. Again, we're going to talk about Jeff Nippard. You need to stop. And we know what Jeff Nippard's been talking about in the media lately, so we're going to talk about that and why I think he needs to stop. Okay, so we're going to get into this. Let me just look over my notes here, because with these Instagram lives, with the YouTube lives now, I make sure that I got notes so I can stay on track. Okay, first of all, I'm going to admit, I'm a fan of Jeff Nippard. But what do we think about him defending these naturals? What is it, Hussein, Farhat, and I guess another one, Julian something or other, and saying they're natural? What do we think about that? So we're going to jump into that in a minute. What do we think about his scientific-based approach to training? Because you got the gym bro approach. You got to eat chicken, broccoli, potatoes, whatever. Curl till you can't curl no more. Curl harder than last time. That's the bro approach, right? Whereas Jeff Nippard's got the graphs and all these kind of things and scientific approach and does a study on it and all this kind of stuff. His videos sometimes, well, lately they're more exciting, but at the beginning of his journey, they used to be kind of boring because it was all scientific approach. But there was really great information, okay? So we're going to find out what I really think of Jeff Nippard and if I think he needs to stop or if I think he's doing a great job. So just hang in there, guys. I'm just waiting for more people to get on here before we get right into this. So I got some people on here. So we're going to talk about it in a second. If you're on here, guys, double tap on the video. Give me a like. Also, if you feel like it, if you have any 2 cents about Jeff Nippard, drop it in the comments here because I'm talking about Jeff Nippard right now. So once we get rolling here, because I run a natural bodybuilding organization, so I do respect him as a natural athlete. And I'm not going to say, I do believe he is 100% natural. So if the debate at all is whether or not Jeff Nippard is natural, I believe he's got great genetics and he's 100% natural. Okay, I believe he even won, let me see if I got any updates here, any, okay, I really don't have any stuff here, but I believe he won a pro card, I believe, in the WNBF, and he even competed on a WNBF pro stage. I believe for sure he's 100% natural, so Jeff Nippard is 100% natural. But what we're going to get into, what do we think of that scientific approach? Do we think he gives us too much information, too many charts, too many big words? Is he too fancy? Is it too scientific? Or does it make sense? Let me know what you guys think. Jeff Nippard, because a lot of the big guys, the big juicer guys, they think he's an idiot, right? They think he's a nerd. His scientific approach doesn't make sense because everyone's different, all this stuff. But you know what? I appreciate the scientific approach because it takes the guesswork out of it. Because people are like, oh, does a bicep curl work perfectly? What's better, an incline bicep curl or a standing barbell curl? He actually breaks it down with studies, saying how much the muscle fibers, whatever, stimulate and all this kind of stuff. And it makes sense. So for those people who need to have evidence, he gives you scientific-based evidence. And I appreciate evidence, you know what I mean? So I do appreciate it, but I do believe there's obviously there's other factors such as genetics, all this kind of stuff, because genetics is big. Just like Greg Doucette says, 1 in a million. There's 1 in a million people that are phenoms that react differently to working out and stuff, right? But anyways, I'm a fan of Jeff Nippard. I like his approach, the scientific-based approach. It makes sense. Yes, it can't be accurate for everyone, but 80% of the time, I think he's got some really solid, accurate information for the general public. If you're looking to get into working out and you want some good, solid workout information, Jeff Nippard is your guy. He was my go-to guy. I started watching him on YouTube before, because he was around before Greg Doucette. But Greg Doucette is big, but shit, do you realize that Jeff Nippard's bigger? Not physically. Because as they say, I'm not going to call him manless because I'm not the tallest guy either. But like Greg Doucette always says, he's a manlet, right? So they're not big guys. So Jeff Nippard is smaller than Greg Doucette as well. But he's got more subscribers, believe it or not. Because Greg Doucette has 2 million subscribers. I didn't realize until I went to do this video, because I want to get some bullet points to talk about. I didn't realize that freaking Jeff Nippard has 7 million subscribers. I was like, holy shit. That amazing. 7.4 million or something like that subscribers and over 1 billion freaking views on his videos. So this guy is even bigger than I thought he was, and I thought he was huge. So anyways, so people are really busting his balls about defending these naturals. I'm just going to try to make sure I grab their names. Where is it here? Just bear with me. I got my laptop open here just so I got some points to talk about. Because when I go on these YouTube lives and stuff, I always go off the cuff and freaking forget what I'm talking about. Let me find these 2 guys' names. I just want to make sure I say their names right. And of course, I can't find them. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to find them. I know what they are. I just don't want to say them out loud in case I'm wrong. Oh boy, why are my notes like, you know what I mean? You put it on your laptop and you're trying to scroll through it, and my laptop makes noise because I think it's old, or I got too much stuff on it, so it makes this humming noise that it gets heated up. So that's irritating for YouTube lives. There's their name, Hussein Farhat, who we all know. If you follow Natty or Not, or you're watching the Are They Natural controversies, Hussein Farhat is the biggest guy out there right now. For whether he's natty or not, based on Greg Doucette and all these people, HTLT supplements, all that. And then there's a new one on the scene who's only like 18 or 19 years old, Julian Fitzgerald, okay? The guy is freaking phenom. Even Greg Doucette has to admit, he's not even 1 in a million, he's more of a 1 in a billion. Hussein Farhat is 1 in a million. So what do I think about what Jeff Nippard is doing, defending these guys, then making a video about it and all this stuff? I think it's right on brand with what he's doing. I think he has solid evidence. I think Jeff Nippard's the type of guy who likes to have scientific proof. So what better way to have scientific proof to have these athletes on his video and to do a blood panel or whatever, to draw their blood and do a blood analysis, whatever, to test their testosterone, all these kind of things, and whether on PEDs and all that kind of stuff. So he did that because that's what is right on brand with what Jeff Nippard is. That's right on brand with what we love about Jeff Nippard, is that he does this scientific approach. He wants to have evidence. He doesn't just say this is true because it's true, like Jim Bros would or whatever. He's like, okay, let's get evidence. And then also evidence is there's a thing called genetics. He even backs it up with photographs of people with great genetics who are also natural and comparing it. Like if you see these guys, they're built different, guys. They're built different, okay? Genetics is a real thing. Like it or not, you can work out, that's the crazy thing about natural bodybuilding. You can work out as hard as you want. You can put in all the effort all you want. You can use a scientific approach all you want. But you're not going to look like what is his name, Julian Fitzgerald. I was going to say, or The Rock, but we all know The Rock isn't natural. But someone like Julian Fitzgerald, claiming to be natural, and then he even did blood work, and he's shown to be natural on Jeff Nippard's video. His muscle insertions are crazy. I don't think he has tendons. It just goes muscle to bone, muscle to bone. Like his bicep starts here, and it ends here. And there's no tendon or anything like that. Like he flexes it, just the whole gap fills in. His chest is the same way. His shoulders are the same way. His traps are the same way. The guy built different, guys. There's a thing called genetics and 1 in a billion. So I do tend to want to believe if Jeff Nippard's going to say so, because Jeff Nippard isn't going to risk his reputation over these two guys. Okay? He's not going to do it. He did a scientific study on them with blood work, and it came back with results that claims that they are not on PEDs, and that's right on brand with what Jeff Nippard's been telling us all along, the scientific approach to everything. And he's also been around the industry long enough. He's been around great physiques more than any of us have. This is what he does for a living, right? He does scientific studies, he does collaborations, he competed in natural bodybuilding. He's been called a fake natty himself. So these guys, the genetics are crazy, right? We all know that's the missing ingredient, right? When we talk about scientific approach and getting all these great results, that missing component, that one thing that changes everything, genetics. Genetics is everything. Just like Greg just said, I keep saying this over and over in this video, 1 in a million. And then you got the guys like Julian Fitzgerald. Too bad I don't have a picture here, but Julian Fitzgerald is like 1 in a billion, guys. Just look him up. Or go watch Greg Doucette. That's not Greg Doucette. We're talking about Jeff Nippard here today. Jeff Nippard's the guy we're talking about. Even though Greg Doucette, I am calling you out still. I do want you involved with the International Drug-Free Athletics. I think HTLT Supplements would be an amazing official sponsor for our shows. You're a Canadian bodybuilder. You were a Canadian natural bodybuilding champion, okay? You were a natural bodybuilder for, I believe, over 40 shows, guys. Over 40 shows. So get involved with International Drug-Free Athletics, because my goal is make IDFA great again. I'm rocking a vintage IDFA shirt here. I'm the guy behind IDFA to do this for 20 years. So let's get back to it. So yeah, so Jeff Nippard, yeah, the missing thing that we talk about is genetics. And Jeff Nippard knows it too, because he's been around the industry. He's been around top-level athletes. He's done studies on top-level athletes. He knows what a natural physique looks like. He knows what's possible. I don't think he's trying to lie to us. He has too much to lose. Like, he didn't even have to do a video on these guys, right? He did a video on these guys, and he put them through the test. I don't know all the background to it, whatever, but I do believe that he gave them legit blood work, and I do believe that Jeff Nippard believes that they're based on scientific study, because that's his brand, scientific approach to everything. He wants to have facts. He wants to have just evidence supporting his facts, not just saying, like, you talk to a gym bro, yeah, you want big arms, you just gotta lift heavy shit. Jeff Nippard doesn't take that just like, okay, sure. But what angle, what rep speed, what rep scheme, all this stuff, what is the best way to get muscle stimulation? And this will work for 70 to 80% of the population. But you get those freaks, those genetic phenoms, like 1 in a million or 1 in a billion. We got 1 in a million Hussein, and we got 1 in a billion Julian, right? You get these freaks that will get results no matter what. And if you give them the best possible training protocols and the best possible nutrition and the best possible effort into their training, just imagine what they can do. That's where you get these physiques that look like this. Okay? It's not going to work for most of us. Hell, you could be on all the PDs you want, and you're not going to look like these two guys. You got to have the genetics. That's that's the most important part to all this. So anyways, what I was saying, I entered the video by saying, Jeff Nippard, you need to stop. Basically what it is, Jeff Nippard, you need to stop making us feel like idiots because your scientific approach is so in-depth, so technical, so outside my knowledge base that I can't follow you along. So you're making me look dumb, so you gotta stop making me look dumb. And then I kind of want to allude that you gotta stop defending these naturals, but no, you don't. You're right on brand. There's no reason why you would defend these guys if you felt like they weren't natural. Because all you gotta do is just not even address it. Like, why put yourself out there? I don't think Jeff Nippard would do that. So anyways, he's right on brand with what he's saying, guys. All right, Nova, thanks for liking and subbing. Yeah, guys, got anything you want to say in here? Because we're talking about Jeff Nippard. Everyone knows Jeff Nippard. Go check him out. He's a Canadian bodybuilding fucking YouTube sensation. Like, he's the one who got me inspired. Originally, it was Jeff Nippard. Then Greg Doucette came into the picture, and he did some crazy shit too. And they're both Canadian. Both short, they're not, well, you know, they call themselves short, so don't, like, I'm only 5'9" myself, so they're not much short, they're not much shorter than me, but they're a hell of a lot bigger than me, because they got better genetics, because we're talking about genetics. They definitely got better genetics than me. Greg Doucette was the top natural, basically one of the Canadian naturals overall. He was basically the best natural bodybuilder in Canada at one point, and he might have been for years, okay? And then you also got Jeff Nippard, who's also a very top-ranked natural bodybuilder in Canada. Earned a WNBF Pro card, competed on the WNBF Pro stage. The guy is a phenomenon as well. So, and he's 100% natty. 100%, I will say Jeff Nippard is 100% natural. Even though I did see a video where he did talk about that one time when he was tempted. Because I guess he wanted to come in super shredded for his show, and he's hanging around. This was before, just when we didn't have all that information online, all that kind of stuff, right? And his buddies were like, you just take this tablet and blah, blah, blah. But he never did, right? But he was tempted at one point because he wanted to come in even more super conditioned so he could take the overall, because his buddies were saying, if you were just a little bit more sharper, you would take the overall type vibe, right? But he never did it. So that's the motto of the story, right? He just never did it. So anyways. So yeah, so Jeff Nippard, you gotta stop making us look like idiots. Making us fall for whatever. Or you gotta stop making the gym bros look bad. Because they don't like hearing this stuff, because they're all jacked up on gear. The problem is when you start doing steroids and stuff, guys, from what I understand. I don't know anything about it, but from what I understand, basically a scientific approach, like Jeff Nippard would probably attest to this, but he's not going to go out on a limb and talk about it. But these guys get into the fact is, sure, must have good genetics to get these physiques, but then they don't worry about the training protocols much. They start worrying about, like, what am I taking? What should I be taking for this result? What should I be taking for this result? Whereas a natural bodybuilder, like I'm a natural bodybuilder, even Greg Doucette started as natural bodybuilder and all that stuff. We studied the body mechanics. We studied what exercises work best for certain muscle groups. We assessed our physique and said, where do we need a little bit more, a little bit less? What's my nutrition look like? It was way more of a scientific, not scientific, but more of just a really serious approach, right? You know what I'm saying, right? You had to take everything serious, right? You didn't just say, oh, let's inject more of this shit, and I'll try injecting this, and I'll go talk to the drug dealer to get this. No, that's not how you do it. So anyways, Jeff Nippard, I believe, is totally on brand by defending these two, what people are calling fake natties, Hussein Farhat and Julian Fitzgerald. I believe he's right on brand by defending them, because he didn't just say, oh, I'm looking at them with my laser eyes or whatever, I believe they're natural. He actually had proof, right? His proof, at least, because the only way you can get proof, you can only do so much. There's no real way we can tell. It's like, I've been drug-free all of his life. You can't do that. People want to say you can and all this. You can't. They say, oh, you can do a lie detector. You can lie on lie detectors. People pass them. And lie detectors aren't admissible in court. And what are you going to do? Sit him down for a 4-hour lie detector on whether he took steroids 10 years ago? You're not. So you're never going to know. Only person that's going to know is him, the athlete, and maybe someone that's super close to him that's never going to tell anybody. Because most of the time, if they want to keep it a big secret, they're not going to tell anybody, right? But anyways, I believe, based on, because Jeff Nippard has a scientific approach, he did the blood work, and that's supposed to be the most accurate way to tell whether you're on PEDs or your testosterone levels are out of whack or whatever, right? I don't know all the details on that. I'm not the scientific approach. Like I said, Jeff Nippard, you gotta stop making me feel like an idiot, because you know you're just too smart for me. But that's why we go to doctors and stuff, right? You go to your doctor. You don't like quiz them. You take their word for it, because they're known to be smarter. So when it comes to scientific approach to bodybuilding, scientific approach to building muscle, Jeff Nippard is smarter than me. If Jeff Nippard says it works, it works. But again, there's the element of genetics. People's genetics and body types, all that stuff has to play in factor. But it does. But overall, yes, say he says a bicep curl stimulates the bicep a certain way. It's going to stimulate that bicep a certain way for everyone. But the results you get from it are going to be different based on genetics, how you eat, and all that kind of stuff. Like I have really short length muscles for biceps, which sucks, but I can't do anything about it, right? It's genetics. So I could work the perfect angle and this and that. I can't lengthen. I got short biceps. I can't lengthen them so that they're real short. I can't lengthen them. Even though people try to say, oh, Shaun, if you just did this exercise, you can lengthen it. You cannot lengthen the bicep. If you could lengthen a fucking bicep, I would lengthen my goddamn bicep. Genetics is, in this sport we're in, a crazy world of natural bodybuilding, physique presentation, bikini competition, all that kind of stuff, where physiques are at a whole different level. Genetics is king, okay? Genetics, if everyone works hard, the people with the best genetics are going to kick your ass. I can work as hard as I fucking want, do everything perfect, come across a genetic freak like a Julian Fitzgerald, puts no work into it whatsoever, just shows up on a whim, and I've been preparing for 20 weeks. He's going to blow me away. Genetics are king. And I guess that's kind of what Jeff Nippard's also trying to show you. There are people with superior genetics in everything we do in life. There's people who run, for some reason they have more oxygen in their blood than normal human beings, and it's just fucking weird. They don't get tired. Or you see people that look like even in MMA fighting, you see people like look at the guy's physique, say, who the fuck is this guy? And he'll kick your ass because they got this genetic thing within them where they don't get tired, they don't quit, they don't do any of this stuff. And then you have someone who trains like, maybe they'd be the perfect athlete, do everything perfect in MMA, but they can't take a shot. You punch them in the face, it's over. Or they don't like the feeling of getting hit in the face. Then you get these other guys who just, they actually, they're not going anywhere. You can knock them down, knock them out. Nate Diaz or something, he's getting up and he's fighting you. The fight ain't over. That's why he always said, if they were unlimited fights, he'd win every single fight. So anyways, that was my take on Jeff Nippard. So let's give a conclusion here. I made some notes, but I didn't follow any of my goddamn notes. I should have. Drop me your favorite. Yeah, basically what I'm just saying, so Jeff Nippard, stop making me feel like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You gotta stop, okay? But I'm gonna give it to you. You're a smart guy. I do love your scientific approach to training. It makes a lot of sense to me when I do watch the videos and stuff. I don't watch your videos as much as I used to because I'm not as hardcore into trying to find the perfect workout and all that kind of stuff. I'm more go by feel now. I'm older now. I'm just kind of going there and I want to enjoy my workouts, do the exercise I know work well for me, all that kind of stuff, eat as healthy as I can, try to keep it, think about longevity and all that stuff. But anyways, I think you're great for the sport of natural bodybuilding. You're great for the fitness YouTube world as an influencer. You're a good influencer. You're a good role model to those around you, especially the up-and-coming natural athletes, because you've been a natural right from day one. You've never been a fake natty. You've never played around with TRT, all these things that people are doing nowadays, right? You didn't do any of that stuff. You're the real deal. Your scientific approach makes a lot of sense to most people, even though some people just want a gym bro. Fuck it, I feel a fucking biceps. That's all that matters. But I love how you got a scientific approach. You talking about those natties who people are saying, oh, they're all fake natties. What the hell is Jeff Nippard doing? He's whatever. He's fallen off, or what they say? He's canceled himself or whatever. They're saying all this crazy weird shit, right? I don't know what all the terminology is. But you're not, man. You did what you used your scientific approach to this. You had a scenario. People were saying, are these guys natural? Or are they not? Your scientific approach, which you've always been doing, which everyone loves because you got a 7 million subscribers, so everyone loves it, your scientific approach. You speak at Harvard, you do all these things. So you brought that approach to a natty or not conversation, which no one else is doing. You did some blood work. You said, you know what, these guys are natural. And then you also did a little bit of research on genetics. And you said, these guys are like basically, as Greg Doucette would say, 1 in a million. You basically said these guys are genetic phenoms. And with the blood panel or blood work you did, they're not on PEDs. So Jeff Nippard, keep doing what you're doing. That's what we're going to wrap up here. I'm Shaun Campbell, Shaun Campbell 2.0. And Greg Doucette, I'm still calling you out because I want you to help me make IDFA harder than last time, okay? So anyways, so let's get HTLT submits involved. Greg Doucette, go watch the video. Go to my page. If you're on here, anyone else on here as well, go to my page, watch the video I made to Greg Doucette, basically calling him out to get him involved and helping me grow natural bodybuilding in Canada. Because the IDFA used to be a top-level natural bodybuilding organization in Canada. I've been doing this since 2005, so 20 years, guys. I want to get HTLT supplements involved. I want to make IDFA better than last time. So my slogan is this: make IDFA. What am I? Make IDFA. Sorry, I almost forgot my fucking saying because I was intertwining it with Greg Doucette's all of his slogans. Make IDFA great again. It's that simple. Make IDFA great again. Okay, guys? That's what we're trying to do. And I want to get Greg Doucette to help the IDFA and myself in a collaborated effort or maybe a sponsorship deal with HTLT supplements. Let's make IDFA great again. I'm in control of the whole organization, Greg Doucette. I call the shots, okay? So when we start implementing things to make natural bodybuilding greater and better than ever, I can do everything that needs to be done. I'm not working underneath other organ. I'm not a promoter. I'm an owner, okay? I own IDFA. I used to run 15 shows across Canada and all the provinces. We're expanding out into the provinces, guys. So I can make anything happen. As long as it's in the best interest of all these there's great natural athletes in Canada. We can even go to the US. At one point, I was so fucking big, I just wish you know when you make a few mistakes? Like basically one of the mistakes I made was not creating a team. I did everything myself. So if something went wrong on my end, the whole thing falls apart. So when 2020 hit us like a motherfucker, I was the only guy. I took it all and it all fell like a falling cards. But we're building back. Montreal's kicking ass. Toronto, we're doing great. Now we're going to build out and get out to Calgary, Vancouver. And I want to take the East Coast, guys. Greg Doucette, imagine this. Bringing a show to the East Coast. Right where you're from. I'll bring it right to your fucking home city, guy. I'll bring it right to Nova Scotia. Let's go right to Nova Scotia. Have the HTLT IDFA Natural Bodybuilding Championships. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. I know I was talking to Jeff Nippard, but I love Jeff Nippard and I love Greg Doucette the same, okay? To be honest, I'm probably more of a fan of Greg Doucette. For some reason, that guy just speaks to me. But Jeff Nippard is cool too. Jeff Nippard, I really respect how his natural status, his scientific approach, all that stuff. I just wanted to, for some reason I keep throwing in Greg Doucette stuff because we're doing a live video here, so I'm kind of feel like people are jumping in, jumping off. So I want to like keep telling them stuff. So anyways, I'm Shaun Campbell, Shaun Campbell 2.0. Subscribe to the channel. Let Jeff Nippard know that he needs to stop. He needs to stop making Shaun Campbell feel like he doesn't fucking know anything. This scientific approach is so in-depth to me that I get lost in the sauce. But I believe everything he's saying, just like when you're listening to your doctor and he says, do this, do that, and you just do it. Jeff Nippard tells me to do a bicep curl a certain way. I'm doing it because he does the research. He's got the brains behind it. He did all the research so we don't have to. So follow Jeff Nippard. And then you got guys like Greg Doucette who are just fucking blowing up the fitness industry, guys. They're big influencers. When they talk, people listen. When they put out supplements, everyone wants to get on board. So anyways, I can't Turk enough this Greg Doucette, okay? And I can't Turk enough Jeff Nippard. Oh my God. Hey, Timu Jones, what's up? I think I recognize you. Were you on here before? Anyways, guys, I'm going to stick around a little bit longer if you want to just shoot the shit. My message about Jeff Nippard and my messages to Greg Doucette are done for now. So we can just talk. So come on here and talk. Again, I run the International Drug-Free Athletics, which is natural bodybuilding competitions. I'm rocking an older shirt from about 10 years ago. Because now I got that's the new logo with a man and a woman on it. Because before you have just a man on it, but you got to make sure you're inclusive. I know bodybuilding, everyone thinks front double bicep, but I just like how I got a woman and a man on it, right? I don't know. You can see it right there. There's a woman and a man on the logo, and that's me back in the day. That's probably one of my first competitions ever, and that's the first time I was ever on a magazine cover. Anyways, I'm telling you guys, I'm not lying. Back in the day, I was something. Like, people, when they thought about natural bodybuilding in Canada, they thought about IDFA. And I'm not just making this shit up. To all you newcomers in here, they don't realize that IDFA was something. That's why Make IDFA Great Again is my slogan. So subscribe to the channel if you just like what I was talking about today. If you like anything about anything that I talk about, subscribe, okay? Share this video. Let Jeff Nippard know Shaun Campbell's talking about you. Let Greg Doucette know Shaun Campbell still wants to get you involved with the IDFA. Let people know. People need to hear this. I'm a small YouTuber, guys. So they're not taking me that serious. When you got a guy like Jeff Nippard with 7 million subscribers, you got a guy who, in record time, got 2 million subscribers, which is Greg Doucette. The guy's over I think he's around 2.5 million, something like that, subscribers. And he did it so fucking fast, it's not even funny. He did record speed. Jeff Nippard was more over a 10-year period, but he got to 7 million subscribers. These guys are both blowing it up. So if you've got any insight or any way to get a hold of these guys, or if they've listened to what you got to say, let them know Shaun Campbell's talking. And Shaun Campbell used to be, but he wants to be again, a big player in the natural bodybuilding world in Canada especially. So we want to build it. We want to make IDFA great again. And players like Greg Doucette, and hell, if we get Jeff Nippard endorsing it as well, that'd be fucking phenomenal. Or Will Tennyson, just people like that. They're Canadian, natural bodybuilders. Or even Hussein Farhat, even though people don't believe he's natural. I tend to want to believe he's natural, okay? I don't have any reason why not to believe he's not natural. So Hussein Farhat, if you're seeing this too, get into Greg Doucette's ear. Let him know. Shaun Campbell's calling. Shaun Campbell wants to talk. Shaun Campbell. I'm talking third person, like, who is this badass Shaun Campbell? I want to talk to him. But HTLT Supplements, come talk to me. I'm the IDFA guy. I'm Shaun Campbell 2.0. So if you're seeing me on here, subscribe to the channel. Let's make natural bodybuilding great, and let's make IDFA great again, guys. I'm jumping off here. Thanks for checking out the video. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video with people. I'm out.